Coach Thacker.
You've gotten some of your linebacker depth back, and you've got a chance to develop some of the younger guys. What are you seeing from that group right now?
Yeah. So I'm seeing a bunch of dudes fighting to be above the line. So even we don't normally speak about injuries, but just now that we have everyone healthy and everyone back, Jaquez Jackson was even back to add to the mix to give us some flexibility. Charlie Thomas played multiple positions today to give us position flexibility. When a guy or two actually had class, wasn't an injury deal. So those guys have become multi-positional. So we have the Mike and the Will. We also have the nickel position where we move those guys around. And then today was actually the big emphasis situationally was third down. So on third down, we got in one of our prowler packages, multiple personnel packages, and a lot of those guys were on that package to give us speed and athleticism and pass rush and playmaking.
Do you feel like Demetrius is a guy who's above the line right now, or is he still in that mix, or like in the?
Yes, he's proved himself. The young man's incredibly mature. He really is. He's a freaky athletic kid. Really is. Has an offensive background, a little bit of defense in high school, but was recruited as a quarterback and then came in, and we immediately told him that he was going to be a defensive player and a linebacker, which is tough to do, but just an incredibly mature kid. He's coming with a great attitude. He's learned a ton. The learning curve has been huge, but just really, really works at it. And to be quite frank with you, you'll see him next Thursday. You'll see him next Thursday in the game. He's going to play.
When King was moved from corner to safety, it was mentioned that you wait to the end of the camp to decide where you needed the most at corner or safety. Has that decision been made yet?
Yeah, so he worked safety reps today and corner, so he was still multi-position. I'd say the bulk of those were at safety, and then again, it's no secret. We've talked about, above the line ad nauseum, but he will be an above the line guy, and you'll see him in special teams and playing in the secondary. But got the bulk of his work at safety today.
To go back to Demetrius for a second, quarterbacks, there's been a tradition, a lot of them end up playing defense, playing linebacker or safety. Is there something about that mentality and the leadership qualities that you have from a high school quarterback and being the best athlete on the team that make a good linebacker?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's just above the neck. As physically tough as you have to be a defensive player at a high level like this, you got to be smart these days. We try to make defenses as simple as possible so we can go play fast and execute. But there's adjustments, there's communications that have to go on. So again, you hear about the quarterback of the defense, and for us, that's our safeties and that's our linebackers, specifically the Mike position where he's gotten the bulk of his work at. So very good above the neck, processes things well, picks things up quickly, and again, talk about the learning curve, how quickly he's picked that up. Thanks, Jennifer. How you doing?
How many guys do you feel like you could have where you feel comfortable playing in the game Thursday?
On the defense?
Yeah, on the defensive side.
Minimum of 22, and it'll be, again, we've talked about this before, but at the last place we were at, probably average 25 to 28. I would say upwards of 28 are going to be heavily involved in special teams as well, but this isn't just coach speak or trying to encourage the guys. More than 22 defensive players will play next Thursday.
Where do you see Antoine Owens fitting in? I know he's played a lot of reps at tackle and then saw him doing some drills today at defensive end.
Sure. So Coach Knight in the defensive tackle room, they've done a really nice job of developing depth in that room in particular. So that's allowed us to give Antoine some position flexibility. When we walked in the door, he was a defensive end. Because of his athleticism and his size, we moved him inside. The more that room has developed and the more guys that we have that we feel comfortable putting in the game, that's allowed Antoine to move outside and play some end. So even in our third down multi-positional packages, he was out there on the edge as well. So he's gotten a ton of reps at both. But I'm really pleased with his progress.
How has Zamari developed? You guys have given him a lot of work at that corner. That's the position you've been kind of looking to find someone.
Yeah, he's the physical traits that we're looking to continue to bring in. He has them. He has great height. He has great length, especially majoring in being a press corner at the line of scrimmage. It takes longer to get off of the line of scrimmage for wide receivers with longer bodies with bigger wingspans. But a young kid, he played a little bit. We actually threw him the tape last year, obviously from Clemson, and he got some meaningful reps in that game. But still, true to form to most of our roster, a very young roster. But he's made growth. He's made growth, and has had an opportunity to get a ton of above the line reps and be opposite of Trey at times. And that's been a kind of a revolving position of trying to find the right mix. But a ton of growth out of Zamari and a really good attitude.
As you're rolling guys, is that something you leave up to the position coaches, or do you have a sense of, like, you want to bring in the Bs?
So there is a science to it. So and then 2 days before the game, we'll meet as a staff, and then we get in there. And Coach Collins, we have an entire conversation as a staff, and we talk about the guys that we as a staff, and then obviously the head coach has to sign off on it if he feels comfortable, if they're above the line, if they have the green light or not. And then we try to situationally talk about which series they're going to go in. So for us, it may not necessarily be the A group goes out there, and then by the second series, an entire flood of guys, but you work them in. Maybe Series 2, maybe Series 3, maybe Series 4. So you've got some older guys working with some younger guys at times. So it's not just it's not truly two platoon.
Right.
So there's a science to it. There's a conversation about it that we really spend a ton of effort on. And then in the second half, it's Coach always says it. Everybody wants to know who's the starter, who's the starter, who's the starter. Mamas and daddies and uncles and friends and everybody that want to know who the starter is. But for us, it's who's finishing the game. That's the young man that's executing at a high level, has great energy on the sideline, whether it's good or bad, and the person we have trust in at the end of the game. For us, that's what's most important.
What are your thoughts on Derek Allen? He obviously can't play this year and sitting out, but just getting that body in and kind of what you liked seeing from him.
Yeah, just first of all, just high character kid, high academic kid, so he fits in well with the Georgia Tech culture and the program. Really excited about him. Similar to Spider. Wasn't the right fit for him. It wasn't a contentious exit from him at his previous university, but just there's no place like home, no place like Atlanta for him and having his family. But I think he's got the right type of demeanor. Obviously, a very highly rated kid. But I've really been pleased with him. He had his first day in uppers and pads, and then our developmental defensive squad, led by Coach Jeff Collins, is pretty dang sporty over there. So we've got to keep that into perspective. Certainly, as we're very myopic and talk about one day at a time and being great today, it's hard not to peek over there every once in a while and just think about the promise of the future and those guys that we have that are going through waivers and going through eligibility. But those guys that we don't know the finality of those situations, it's interesting to see that team over there on the developmental squad going against our offense and making them better every single day. So those guys will have a chance to develop and be ready for the future.
One or two more for Coach Thacker.
When it comes to game day, do you prefer to be on the field or up in the box?
Yeah, 1,000% on the game field. Every coach says it, but just the feeling, the mood, the energy, where guys' heads are at. It's hard to tell that up in the box. Certainly there's a strategical, schematic advantage of being able to see things up there. Coach Nathan Burton is generally up in the box. He's a lead at that. He's very good at knowing, what we're trying to get done, what they're trying to expose, adjustments that we need to make, and we've gone into it for a while, so a big comfort level there. And then the big piece too for defense coordinator to be on the sideline, relative to the NFL, you find more tempo and more fast-paced offenses, truly hurry plays. So being able to take the communication gap out of it and get those out to the guys faster and not have any issues in that way. That's necessitated a lot of college defensive coordinators to be down on the field as well for that strategical piece of it.
I imagine you get a better feel for where the guys are at when you can look them in the eye too.
Sure, yeah, that's exactly right. And we're going to face adversity this year, and just knowing where where their heads at, and there's no substitute for looking them a man in the eye and seeing where they're at mentally.
Anything else?
In terms of the noise aspect of being on the road, and it's obviously going to be a rowdy environment, is there anything you guys can do in terms of to simulate that in practice, and is that something that you and Coach Collins work on?
Literally every day at the end of practice, we either do a 2-minute situation, or we call it put the ball down. But it's the offense goes at a faster rate, generally at 7 to 8 plays. It doesn't matter what the end result of the play is. If they're going to move the ball up every 10 yards. Whatever we were playing at the end of the practice, it is. I can't hear. I can't talk. So it is allowed. We've got a new speaker system out there as well. Thank you to whoever did that. So it is a deafening sound out there. So it creates the environment where the guys have to use signals, hand signals. We've obviously signal from the sideline, but the communication on the field. and a lot of that is nonverbal, so it forces us to have to do that to simulate something, because Death Valley is going to be unreal. It's going to be a great game day environment. It's going to be loud, so we try to put them in as many stressful environments during practice to simulate that, so they don't blink when they go out there on game day.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Andrew.
Appreciate it.
Y'all have a great one.